anyone be able to tell you what this means? What we're able to achieve on that side? Can anyone? No. Can they? No. So we are going to be able to achieve those goals by taking a pragmatic and a clear journey that's going to achieve it, which means that we're consistently investing. So as I said, 2015, 50% return. After that, after the 2015, I think it was 2016, we actually lost value. I think it was just about a 4% loss that year. But when you average the years out, when you average the rate of return that was coming, then we are averaging in the high teens into the low 20% per year. And that is what we're trying to achieve here. We're not, there's no investment that you're going to get into and suddenly it multiplies your effect. Those kind of investments are usually, there's a luck element, very few, and those who generally win investments through luck, like gambling, investments that just suddenly fall on them like massive inheritances, those people struggle because they didn't have the skill set to manage it. You see, we are surprised because we hear large numbers and we think, oh, it is impossible to spend. But there are people who have received huge returns and ended up broke. We just need to think about huge superstars around the world, especially in the area of sports. And you think of somebody like Allen Iverson, who was earning hundreds of millions of shillings and ended up broke. We just need to think about, and now I'm showing my age over here, right? Obviously my hairline tells you, but my age also tells you, you go and Google this. For all the millennials in the room and Gen Y and all those, you can Google this guy called MC Hammer. You might have heard his song, but you didn't know how big it was when it was out there. It was called You Can't Touch This. MC Hammer in 2 years made over $50 million and ended up broke. Because guess what? If you have money, you will find something to spend on it. Those who generate wealth are the ones who are able to keep their money and let their money work for you. And that's what we're doing here at Centonomy. That is our goal. And so for today, our aim is to ensure that you are able to align your investments to your financial goals. Those of you who are social media savvy, you can also be able to tweet, you can be able to share on Instagram, Facebook, all the other places. And the hashtags that we're going to be using are Centonomy 101, personal finance, and hashtag investments. If you're so inclined, please do as we go along the way. I'll be your moderator. My name is Waithaka Gatumia, and I serve here at this company called Centonomy as CEO, but I'm also a student of Centonomy. I told you I cannot come and tell you things that I have not experienced myself. So I have experience, and that idea of understanding what investments align with my goal. You were watching some of the videos before this session that we're running, and that was one of the things. We found that one of the insurance products that we had taken was not aligned to our goals. Hey, I am not here to tell you do not take out insurance products. No, there are some that have aligned with our goal, and we've kept them as a family. But when we did the assessment on which ones are actually achieving our goals, we took a choice and said, you know what, maybe that's not working. Let's take a different strategy. And that is the aim of what we're doing here at Centonomy. We want to ensure that you are getting the right information to get you to your goals. That is the aim. So today, I am going to be inviting you in a couple of minutes. I am going to be inviting you to sign up and to register for the Centonomy 101 class. Why? Because just like those athletes that we were talking about before, I don't know why it is. We think about it like this. You know, we watch athletes and it's okay for them to be coached. They need a coach, but aren't they the talented ones? When I look at immense athletes, you know, your Cristiano Ronaldos, we look at your Lionel Messi's, we look at your Eliud Kipchoge's. These people are amazing and they're doing an amazing job, but they all have coaches. Hasn't that ever struck you? They often have more talent. Hey, some of you may be more talented than us, by the way, than me, and I'm okay with that. But what a coach does is they help you to understand strategy. They also begin to challenge you to be better at what you're doing. That's what a coach does. And the Centonomy 101 program is designed to coach you around your personal finances. Let's do a quick exercise before we get to our first speaker in just the next couple of minutes. I want you to, just right now, just write this on the top of your book. I asked you to have a notebook next to you and a pen. Right at the top of your notebook, the question, what do I want? What do I want? Put a big question mark under it. And under it, just begin to list some of the things that you want to achieve in your life. I'll give you a second to do that. We're listing our financial goals or the things that you want to achieve. It's not even just financial. It could be other things that you want to achieve. Just write them down. What do you want? Be clear. I like to use Eliud Kipchoge as you're writing that as an example. Eliud Kipchoge broke the world marathon record. Why? Because he was crystal clear on what he wanted to achieve. In fact, it was on billboards all around here in Kenya and I believe around the world. Eliud Kipchoge his target was crystal clear. It was 1 hour, 59 minutes and 59 seconds. He got it down to the second and said, if I can achieve this, I'll have achieved my goal. And because he did that, he was able to work backwards to the very start line so that he knew what pace he needs to keep to achieve that goal. Was it an easy goal? No. Did he have to practice for it? Yes. Did he try once and fail? Yes. Did he come back again and actually achieve it? Yes. So even for you, you may have tried something before, but you still have the ability within you to achieve the goal if it is crystal clear in front of you. So have you written them down? Great. So you've written a couple of things. I hazard a guess that some of you have written, I'd like to live in a nice house. Now, let me challenge that. Nice house. Great. So you've written a nice house. Let's see if I can do this for you here on the screen real quick. You wrote nice house. Good. Which one? First question, which one? Where is it? How much does it cost? When would you like to have it? Now we're getting specific. Maybe you had a goal, another goal. Let me put another one here. Get out of debt. And I'm asking you, how many debts do you have? So which one? Have you been specific and said, which debt am I attacking first? How much is it going to cost me? And when would you like to be out of debt? Now that is being specific. And when we come into the Centonomy 101 program, this is what we're doing. Hey guys, this is not about, I told you, I can come and shout at you and get everybody from the stock market to come and tell you about how wonderful the stock market is. We've got some amazing people who are going to speak to us like Terry about real estate, and they'll tell you about real estate. But if you don't know what your goal is, then you can't achieve that. And so I want us to be, this is what Centonomy 101 is all about. It will help us to clarify what our goals actually are. That is what we're here for. We're here so that we can clarify. And then as coaches, we are empowering you with the tools. We're challenging you and saying, hey, have you done enough? In fact, if you've listened to anybody who's ever come from the Centonomy 101 program, you'll hear about tracking your expenses. That's a challenge. But guess what? When you challenge yourself, you grow. I like to say this in our classes, but growth only happens in discomfort. When you're uncomfortable, you grow. When you're challenged by something, you sit down and solve that problem. Now you're ready for the next problem. So are you ready for this challenge? Because the challenge in life is they're big. Hey, you want to retire comfortably? Come on, that's a challenge. Let's see what we have to do, what kind of resources we need to put together, how we need to move forward. You want to get out of debt? Hey, that means a shift in your lifestyle. That means you need to figure out, how can I earn more? How can I keep more of what I have? How can I repay faster? It's a challenge. Hey, guess what? You want to drive that car? You want to buy that new phone? Then you need to sit back down and say, what, as I do this, is it going to be affecting my children's education, my retirement plan, and we're putting all these things together so they align and get us to our goal. So guys, the challenge is on you. And here's the one thing before I hand over to our first speaker for today. The one resource that you do not have that can multiply is time. We'll talk about it in the course. We have a whole module called Time Value of Money, so that you begin to recognize the best time to invest. I know many people say the best time to have invested is 10 years ago. That's a lie. Well, in my opinion, that's a lie. Well, the best time to have planted the tree was 10 years ago. No. Why? Because I can't go back 10 years. I don't have it. So the best time to invest, the best time to learn, the best time to actually move forward is when? Today. Some of you are considering and saying, oh, I'll come next year, I'll come next year. Guess what? This is the time. Make that choice today. Make that challenge to yourself and say, you know what? I know it's not going to be easy to raise those funds for the class. I can see what it costs. No, it's not. Nothing good comes easy. But guess what? When you start it, you'll save millions in your debt and you begin to earn what you're thinking that you can be able to. So this is the time. Don't waste another second. Hey, if you allow me to talk for too long, I can be here for quite a while. I'm so excited to invite our first speaker of the day. That's Terry Odeny. She's the sales director at Olympia Gold Real Estate, and she's going to come and share from her experience on this idea of aligning your investments to your goals. Terry, I'll invite you, if you can, to be able to unmute and to put on your video so that we can be able to hear from you and to hear what kind of advice you would give us, especially about aligning your goals in that area. So excited to have you here present. Tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you're able to help people on their financial journeys and what you have experienced as well. I hope everybody in the room, we are over 200 people in the room, have your notebook next to you, have your pen. I do, because even as I attend some of these sessions, I have to learn as well. Let me just make sure I can help Terry to get her video on. There we go. Great. Terry, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
Super.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
We are primed and ready for you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for this, inviting me to this amazing panel to speak about a subject I'm extremely passionate about. Real estate, as we all know, is an important cornerstone in our financial well-being and generally in building wealth. And a lot of people get into the real estate space not understanding how to navigate the journey. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself before I can dive into the subject. My name is Terry Odeny. I'm the sales director at Olympia Gold Real Estate. I have been lucky to have been in this industry for over a decade, handled amazing projects and buyers, helped a lot of investors to be able to just find proper and extremely amazing investment opportunities. I have seen people do extremely well, and I have also seen others make a lot of mistakes. And I think the importance of these classes, such as Centonomy, they help investors understand why sometimes it's good to think through processes rather than just dash and jump into them, and enable somebody understand why you want to get to a point and exactly what goal you're trying to get into real estate or whichever investment you're trying to get into with a proper plan. So ideally, we are supposed to be discussing how you're supposed to be going about your real estate goals. There are a couple of things that I have had in my experience. So you meet, for example, a specific investor, and they're telling you, hi, Terry, real estate is doing very good. I want to get into real estate and make money. So you sort of have to ask this person, I need to understand from your point of view, what is your goal? Why do you want to get into real estate? Are you looking to make your cash flow better through rental return? Are you looking for something with a good capital gain opportunity, Like the way you see a lot of us joining in Shamas, we go to Mombasa Road or Kitengela, we find a plot of land and we sort of land banking on it so that it can be able to grow in terms of value. Or are you looking for something that when you come in, you can have a quick capital gain, like maybe in 2-3 years and exit? You need to look at the whole holistic picture so that you can be able to find a solution that works for you best as an investor. So I want to get to a very specific approach in regards to goal setting in real estate investments. I hope everybody has their pen and paper so we can take notes together. So ideally, they are, as a real estate professional, I advise any client who's looking into real estate investments to consider these 5 things when they are getting into setting their goals around real estate investments. Number 1, and I know Waithaka had hinted it a bit, you have to be very specific on what you want. Extremely clear and specific. Do you want an apartment? Do you want a house? Do you want to buy land? Which area do you want to buy? What is the purpose of buying it? What do you want to do with this land? Because you find a scenario where you can get 5-6 people have come in a room and somebody says, oh, I went to Ngong and I found these amazing plots being sold. It's a very, very good deal. Let me rush. So you've taken money out of your proper investment plan. For example, 2-3 million, you've gone and put it in a property in Ngong. It's empty, it has no water, it has no roads, it has nothing. So you've taken money, which ideally you should have invested in something else, packed it in a place that is not making sense, it's not giving you any return, and you're stuck there with that property. Then after a while, you start saying, I have these plots everywhere. You have a plot in Nanyuki, you have a plot in Nakuru, you have a plot here, but you don't have a cash flow system with you. You then say again, I'm broke. You're not broke because you don't have money. You're broke because instead of taking that very 3 million and investing it in a high return, fully managed apartment, which would have been giving you daily income and granted you equity to invest, you went and dumped money because it was a good deal. So be very, very specific when you're trying to get into real estate investment. Say, this year, me and my partner have decided we have to own an apartment. We can't afford a luxury apartment, so I think we will look maybe in a middle and upper class sector. We are hoping if we can get a rent between 40 and 70K, that should be a good investment for us. Because every month, we'll be having an income of 70K on a property. So this will either give us good cash flow, or it will play a big part in reducing our mortgage. Or you'll say, this year, I have heard that you can make some money from land banking. My objective will be to work with a good realtor to find a good, promising virgin location that can be able to give me good return in 2-3 years. Since this money, I have it and it's patient capital, I'll be able to put this money at this specific time so that I can then get a return after 2-3 years. Or alternatively, you can say, I feel like I'm successful. I have put a couple of investments here and there. I feel like there's instability in the crypto market or there's instability in the stock market. Because real estate is a very firm and secure investment that can be able to hedge me against inflation or can be able to help me have a better capital growth in a slow time. I feel my money is safer here. You understand, being that specific will avoid you from moving money from the right place to the wrong place. So the other thing you have to be able to be very clear about is you have to have a specific idea on how to measure your real estate investments. The goal must be extremely measurable. I'll give you an example. You'll say, I want to be, for example, you can say, I want to make money in real estate investments as a developer. So you'll say, if you want to make money in real estate as a developer, there are many aspects of real estate. There's commercial real estate, there's land real estate, there's affordable housing, there's luxury housing. What do you mean you want to make money as a real estate developer? That's such a broad statement. It cannot be able to be quantified. Have you looked at the market? Are there more luxury buyers right now? Or do we have a really need of affordable housing? Should you be putting your money in luxury homes, or should you be putting your money in affordable housing? Or even as yourself, personally, you say, I feel this year I need to own a house. Assuming, let's say you have an income of $3,000. If you go to your real estate agent and you tell them, look, I'm looking to buy a house for 50 million, and your salary is at $3,000, it doesn't make sense. Like you have an extremely good dream, but those finances are not going to work. That mortgage will literally kill you, you know? So you need to make sure that your goal is very clear and measurable. You'd say, I am earning $3,000. I think if I find a house for $100,000, my mortgage will be reasonable. I'll be able to pay my mortgage, handle my regular finances, and still have something left a little bit for me to be able to do a few investments as I diversify my portfolio. So another thing, especially when it comes to goal setting in real estate, is ensuring that you also set a goal that is attainable. You know, I believe we've got some Generation Z here and millennial buyers. I find that especially in this generation, we live in a high pressure, high ambition space, because I believe social media is the one thing that has taken us to that direction. So you wake up and you're like, everyone's living in Runda, everyone's living in Waithaka. Yes, as a young investor, you would want to get into that space where you want to purchase at that point. But it's the one thing I've learned over this journey in real estate, you have to start somewhere. And mostly those who start from an attainable and a realistic point are the ones who end up being really great champions in the industry. So whereas you would want to aspire to be somewhere, you'd be surprised buying a proper apartment in like a place like, I'll give a Generation Z example. There is affordable housing projects, let's say in Pangani. These units will range from something like 2.5 million to 5 million. And in that 2.5 million and 5 million range, you can be able to get a steady tenant. This property will grow in capital gain. You'll be receiving a lot of cash flow from it. With creative spaces and modern technology and modern apps like Airbnb, we've seen like even houses at that level can give you a return up to 30%, you know, which is unlike your traditional real estate investment, which will give you about a 10% return. So find something attainable, maximize on that particular investment that you found in the real estate, and make it grow to the level you want. You can start with one house, and because the cash flow is good and you can be able to manage your cash flow, use this house as equity, talk to your bank and get the next house. You're building towards something. In 3, 5, 6 years, you've accumulated 4 apartments that if you let go of them, you cannot be able to move from that investment region to another region, like Westlands. But it has taken you the time, it has taken you understanding what the product is like, it has taken you a situation where you have done your math from a realistic point and made sure that it is in line with your investment goals. It is in line with what you're earning. It is in line with what you wish to be earning, you know? Another thing I try to tell people in real estate, especially if you're looking at an investment, let's say you wake up today and you have 5 million and you say, I want to go and buy a house now. That 5 million, you have worked so hard to get it, or that 20 million, or that 40 million, you have worked so hard to get it. You as an investor, you're not realizing that maybe I should do some research. Maybe I should speak to a professional. Maybe I need to check on how the market is behaving. Because everybody will tell you, apartments are doing good. Are you sure apartments are doing good? Like, have you checked? Have you done your own research as an investor? Have you talked to the people who can be able to help you walk that journey so that by the time you're saying, these investments, I have found it, and this money that I have at the moment, I'm just not going to dash and dump it on something because it will make me say I have a real estate property or I've invested in real estate. You know, there are amazing opportunities that are there, but we tend to ask people, especially when you're setting your goals in real estate, ensure that you have the right timing, ensure that you have checked and you have done your research, ensure that you're not rushing a real estate decision. Ensure that you're making sure that as you get into this investment, you are actually ensuring that these goals that you're setting will ensure your success as a real estate investor. Waithaka, I have tried to explain as much as possible when it comes to real estate goal setting, because it's about ensuring that people understand the process of taking money from point A to point B.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And isn't that the aim of what we're talking about today? We have really,
Yes.
I mean, we really wanted to hear from you. And I was just mentioning to everybody in the room and those who are attending in whichever platform you are. I know we've got people all over the place in different social media as well. I can see some folks here have already raised their hands. We're going to use the Q&A section. So if you're here in the Zoom session, kindly, if you have a question, and I know some have already started coming through, we'll use the Q&A, as well as if you're on the social media platform, if you're on YouTube, I can see a couple of people are watching from there and you'd like to ask your question, type it in the comments and we'll try and look at it and try and break that down for us as well. So Terry, we've already got our first question. That I knew it was going to come. This is Joseph Wambogo. He's said, I can save 40,000 shillings per month. That's what he can be able to save. How can I buy land worth 1.5 million? I've accumulated savings worth 300,000 now. Thanks. Any other advice to multiply my savings? I will be thankful. So Terry,
please repeat the question. I lost you there. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll take it again. You can actually open it up in the Q&A section, but I'll read it out one more time. I can save 40,000 shillings per month. Yes. How can I buy land worth 1.5 million? I have accumulated savings worth 300,000. Yes. Thanks. Any other advice would be great. So if you have a question, kindly use the Q&A section if you're here in the Zoom platform. If you are on the social media platforms, you can use the chat area for that. So kindly, go ahead, Terry.
I'm glad, first of all, that you have accumulated savings for the property that you're trying to purchase. It means you've already put about 30% or more of the net value of the property that you're trying to purchase. So you have got two options. One, if you have a stable job and clear income, there are amazing banks that have amazing financing options that can give you a long-term facility to be able to allow you own the property, but be paying slowly to the bank. And then you can be able to. Okay, do you hear me? Option number two, there are amazing land sellers, and I think Optiven is one of them. And I think I've seen land sellers like Username Properties. They have good terms and mode of payment. It means you can pay 10%, then a further 10%. Then the balance is then spread out in a manner in which you can be able to do monthly payments without having to pay any sort of interest, like zero interest on their mode of payment. So I think it would be important that you try and look at land selling companies that have been credible in the market, that have delivered projects, that have sold land that does not have any encumbrance. And most likely they will give you a tailor-made solution with an installment payment. The other alternative is that there are amazing banks like that offer you excellent facilities. And you see, this facility can run up to 10, 15 years, depending on how much you want to save again and how much you want to spend. You find that if you're a young person and you can get a facility for up to 10, 15 years, they can then allow you to plan for your money without having to strain yourself as a buyer.
Wow. Terry, here's another one. Any advice for a fresh graduate who wants to venture into real estate? I'm
Yes.
assuming they don't have much money at that point.
No, they don't. But I tell
I
people
remember those days.
there are opportunities everywhere. I can tell you, you can get property from as little as 50,000 to as much as 100 million. I think it's all just dependent on how your plan is. Do you have a stable job? If you don't have a stable job, do you have a little bit of savings that you've done? So I think this is where research comes in. Try and work with an estate agent who can understand what your need is and can walk with you the journey. I tell everyone right now, even in my own portfolio, I have apartments worth 1.9 million with an excellent return, and I still have apartments worth as much as 100 million that are penthouses. So work with an estate agent who understands your need, who can take you through the journey and can help you like find an investment that would work for you. I have seen millennial investors that have done better than even people who have been in the industry for a long time. I think it's a principle of belief, planning, and discipline. So if you're able to put those things together, you can do amazing in this industry.
Wow, wow, wow. So there's a couple of more. What are your thoughts on building your own home as opposed to buying one? What are the pros and cons?
I think building your own home is every person's dream. Ideally, in every person I've ever talked to who is in the real estate market or in the real estate space, there's one of the most desired thing that we get to hear about anyone when you're speaking about real estate is like, I'd like to build my dream home. It comes so naturally because there's a point where you get in investments and it's not just about your well-being. It's about envisioning the best lifestyle for your kids, your family, and wanting to give them the best. So I think it depends again with your expertise. It depends with your financial planning and your discipline. I think when you're looking at a scenario where you're getting financing, it's probably easier to buy a readily constructed house because you don't have to deal with the consultants, the approval, the everyday going to your site to inspect. If you feel like that is something that you are not good at managing, it is a terrible mistake because we have seen people, even on public news, you'll do a house and it collapses because you're trying to get into a space that you have no expertise in, or you're trying to get into a space and you've not picked the right consultant. So I believe it's just, they all have their pros and cons. I think one of the beauty about building your homes is that it allows you time. You've seen people who started a project and instead of them rushing through and trying to make sure they do everything now, they have tried to build a property in 5-6 years and they've built a grand, beautiful home. And we have seen people who, for example, they're in the diaspora. They don't have people they can trust, who can manage their property. They don't want to lose their money because it has happened before. So for that person, they would find that buying a property in a gated community that's already built to be a safer option. It's just, again, I go back to the principle of understanding what your goal is, understanding what works for you, understanding how you can save money, because you're trying to look at your risk level. So if you, for example, being in London and someone is doing your construction and you can't trust them here, it is truly the easiest option would be for you to buy a ready house. And it would make your work easier as an investor. But if you have the time, if you understand and know good professionals, I don't think that it's a bad idea to build your own home, as long as you set your budget early, understand the full cost, and understand how it will be able to affect you as the person who's getting into real estate investment.
Terry, we have 1 minute left. Your last piece of advice for the wonderful folks who have come in. We now have, this is now over 300 people who are listening to us at this point across all the places we're going. What would you tell them about aligning their investments, especially real estate, to their financial goals?
I think I have 3 pieces of advice that I would ask anyone who has joined this session to consider. So in real estate, there are short-term, medium, and long-term investments. The short-term investments are usually, you want the income now. It means find properties that have got good ROI, whether they are furnished or unfurnished. You will build an amazing cash flow, and at the same time,
what is ROI? What is ROI?
Return on investment. It means, let's say I bought this house for 5 million. making and how much money is compared to the original purchase price. I will try and do a document and send it to Centonomy so that they can be able to, from time to time, send people who are interested in real estate investments. But try and find properties that have a good ROI, return on investment. It means your rent coming in is like at a number that you like. If the number is above 10%, that is a good property. I think even 8 in some markets is still considered a good return. Number 2, they're the wealth builders. People who get into real estate to make sure that they're able to have properties with good capital gain. Like you can buy a property, be still, be patient. I think one of the best examples I like is Kiambu Road and Membli. If you look at the people who invested in Kiambu Road and Membli a decade ago, those people have truly understood what the value of capital gain. So you bought a property for 5 million and we are giving you a valuation of 40 million on Kiambu Road. So your value has grown because at that time you took faith to move into a market that nobody at that point trusted. But you could see that this is a proper place. It has the potential of growth. You look at the investment, you read what the government general plans, our 2030 as a nation, our plans are. So if you can identify good places that you can get a good capital gain return, that is a very, very important thing for anyone who's in the real estate space. Number 3, it's for those who have already become successful investors, because I believe Centonomy also has a lot of people who have already made money and they want to protect their investment. So if you are in that space, real estate is an excellent wealth protection space. It hedges you against inflation. It's a stable, like if you work in stocks and cryptocurrency, you'll understand the stability real estate presents. And it makes you as a person who wants to diversify their investment portfolio have a peace of mind. So those are the 3 things that I would advise anyone who is trying to be in the real estate space to always consider and always take to mind every time they're dealing with real estate investments. I'd also urge anyone who's in this space and is looking to have like a different interaction or personal interaction, please reach out to us, Olympia Gold Real Estate. We're in Westlands, Mirage Towers. Come have a chat with us. Have a chat with one of our property advisors. We'll walk you through how you can be able to get an investment and try and read from time to time the blog posts that we put on our website just to help you as a real estate investor understand what you can be able to do to ensure that your real estate journey is clear, firm, and beneficial to you as an investor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Terry Odeny, she's done an amazing job. Can we put our hands together? I know there are emojis somewhere around. If I had the time, if I could find it on my keyboard, all I'd do is just fire, fire, fire. If you can, just clap your hands wherever you are, just to show your appreciation for the amazing job. Terry, you're great. You've shared insights that are going to change. You should see that the chat box going crazy at the moment everywhere. Yeah, we need to have this kind of advice. I just wanted to mention, Terry, if you can go to the Q&A section and answer a couple of the questions before you take off, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was an honor to be part of this panel. And I do hope that we can be able to help 1, 2, or all of everybody who is tuned in today make the right or take the right direction when it comes to real estate investments.
Wonderful, wonderful. Terry, thank you so much. I'll just ask if you can just go ahead and answer those questions that are there in the chat box. I mean, in the Q&A, if you had any more questions, we'll be asking Terry and the rest of the team to be helping out with that. We can't do all of them, but we'll try and do a couple as we go through. So I want to here we go. I just want to say, listen, one of the issues that we are going to face, especially when making the choices that we're talking about here, is which is the right investment for me. So when you come to an expert like Terry and you heard her expert thought process, she's able to respond clearly around the areas that she is an expert in. It is vital that for you as the individual, you have clarified what it is that you want to achieve. That is our goal here at Centonomy. And I want to show you what that looks like. So when you come into the Centonomy 101 program, these are the modules that you will go through. So we start off with personal money management, that's for sure. Then we get into time value of money. That will help you to look into the future, to be able to say, hey, look, in a couple of years, what will my lifestyle cost? Because we know inflation is going to be part of it. When my children go to university, what will that cost? Because it won't cost the same as it does right now. Please just think back to what university cost when you are in primary school and what it costs today. I want you to also think about what will my retirement cost? The example I always give in the class is in the 1960s and 70s, teachers used to be promised, certain teachers used to be promised a pension of 1,500 shillings per month. Now, I want you to put that into context. At that time in the early 1960s, late 1960s, early 70s, buying a new car, you could buy a new car for 15,000 shillings. That's what, $150. A new car, not imported, second-hand, new from the showroom. So these teachers were imagining, hey, look, when I retire, I'll be getting 1,500. I can buy a new car every 10 months with my cash flow, not even borrowing or doing anything. What they didn't realize is there's a thing called inflation that increases the price of goods and services over time. And so they were not planning to know that in a couple of years, that car will cost 1.5 million shillings or $15,000, not what they thought it was before. So if you are going to plan for your future, how much will your lifestyle cost so you know the kind of investment that you need to make? Then we talk about debt, because as Terry was talking about, how does a mortgage work? How does, so that when you take the mortgage, you fully understand what are the choices that I'm making. Maybe I might take a personal loan, buy a smaller property, and begin to build slowly so that I get the full benefit. Or if I work for an organization like the government or a bank where I get very good mortgage rates, hey, I will take advantage of that good mortgage rate and begin to build using that perspective. Then we get into living abundantly. Living abundantly is all about setting the real goals that you have. You know where we started today? When I asked you, what do you want? Because the choices you make today are based on the goal that you have. So here's one of the things, write this down. I know you've been writing many different things, write this down. Write it down as a personal statement. I have multiple goals. Can I give you some examples for myself? Hey, my phone is growing a bit old. So by end of this year or early next year, I'd like to upgrade my phone. That's a goal. All right. I've been driving the same car for many years. If you see me on the road, you might be surprised the car that I'm driving. But there are choices that we've made based on the investments that we want. So I'd like to upgrade my car. Okay, that's a personal goal. We have looked at some investment properties with my family and we're interested in getting into them. That's another goal. We want our children, 3 of them, to go to universities, and we want them to go to good universities. And so we begin to say which universities, when and how much, because there are 3 children. So one of the children, we have to plan, and we're saying it is in the next 6 years. The next one, we have another 12 years. And the next one, we have 14 years before, 14 years before we go to university. So what will it cost for each one of them? What investments do we need to make? And then finally, my wife and I, hey, these children will come and they go. They are a gift to us for a period of time, but they're going to leave us, isn't it? And so when they have gone, we don't want to be calling them to ask them for money. No. By God's grace, if they can be calling us and we can send them something to assist them on their journey, we can invest in their businesses. We can help them to build rather than taking them backwards. We can build what is called generational wealth. So we want a happy and peaceful retirement. Did you see how many goals there are? And so when you begin to think about your investment strategy, even around the issues that we're talking about here, like real estate, then the strategy shifts. So that you begin to see, hey, at this moment, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, I'm even in my 40s, I still need to get a multiplying effect. You begin to do what Terry is talking about and not look at real estate just for income, but look at real estate for the return. What does that mean? Real estate that you can buy, which is what many of these agents do. They go and buy big plots of land, they subdivide and sell it for a 60% margin. Hey, in the class, there's one of our trainers who has this saying, I've stolen it from him. He says, if you're the one buying all the eights, you know those small pieces of land, you're not the investor. The investor is the one who bought the 10 acres, subdivided it into eighths and quarters, added a markup and made 60% in less than a year, while you're waiting 5 years to make 10% return. Who is the investor in that? So what we do in the Centonomy 101 program is that we begin to highlight the areas of investment based on your goals. So you can see module there 5, investing in treasury bills and bonds and unit trusts. If we understand it, then we go into property and we understand it. Then we go into the stock market and understand investing in businesses. Then we come back to our plan and begin to say, you know what? My current goal is for growth. I want to multiply. I want to get a compounding return. I'm not so interested in the stock market. That's because of me. So I want to get into real estate. So how do I use real estate to achieve my goal? Hey, here's somebody else in that same class and they're saying, you know what, me, I cannot be bothered with land. I don't like land. I'm not interested in that. I am not. So let me see, how can I invest in the stock market and other similar investments like the unit trust that we're talking about to achieve the same goal? So based on your skills, your time, your ability, your money, I saw so many questions coming in about that, saying, I'm at this level, I have this amount, what should I invest? That's what the Centonomy 101 program does. It enlightens you on each of the investment classes so that now you can make the personal choice to say, I will therefore invest like this. I will use my savings towards this, or I will use debt towards this. Finally, module 8 to 10, we get into how to protect our money. Did you hear Terry talking about protecting your money? We learn about insurance. And this, when you talk about insurance, there's an insurance expert. They run an agency, but they're not coming to sell you insurance. They're coming to tell you, how does insurance work? What are the benefits and what are the things to look out for? We've got a estate planning lawyer who come and teach you about how do you begin to organize your wealth so that it benefits you while you're alive and it benefits generations to come once you're gone. So it's not just about when you're gone, it's while you're alive, how do you manage it? And finally, we talk about tax. How does tax affect us? How do we optimize our tax outlay and how do we grow from there? Then finally, with all this information, now we put together my financial plan, my own, not someone else's, not Centonomy's financial plan, but mine, based on that knowledge, so that some of the things, as you heard from my personal experience, our investment, we've done some real estate, but that real estate is doing a specific thing. We've done some shares, and those shares are doing a specific thing. We've invested in businesses directly, our own businesses, and that's doing a specific thing. We've invested in ourselves. So my wife has just completed a coaching course, and she's now coaching across the board. I have focused on my career, and I'm now the CEO of this company because I realized as a part-time trainer at Centonomy, which is where I started, I was not earning enough to achieve my financial goals. So your financial goals is going to cost you something. What are you willing to do? And I challenge you that the first course that you should take is to sign up for the Centonomy 101 program today, because it will set you up with the knowledge. Because I can hear, you're now going to hear about some insurance products and some other investment products. Then you're going to wonder now, which one should I choose? Real estate? Terry she was so perfect in explaining it. And now I'm going to hear about which one should I choose? That's what the 101 program is. It is coaching so that you are clear on your personal financial plan. So I want to invite you to register for that class today. We'll be starting on the 15th of February, so you have some time. You can be able to register with only 500 shillings. We always reduce our registration fee on the day of events like this, especially for people who showed up like you, and you can be able to benefit from that. At the moment, I want to encourage you, if you are coming with your partner, come with your partner, because we have a 20% couples discount. This is another 10% over the current discount that is applying across the board, because we recognize as families that you should be able to grow and learn together. So if you register today as a couple, you'll be able to receive that information. So how it works, you come for one class per week, either on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday evening, which are online at 6 p.m. East African time. So you can adjust for wherever you are in the world, East African time, 6 p.m. Or Saturday morning. So we're going to have a hybrid class on Saturday. We're trying to get back into the physical space. Saturday morning, we have a physical class, but it's also going to be running online as well from 9 a.m. East African time. So you register with that 500 shillings, and you can pay the rest in installments. So before you start the class on the 15th, you pay 14,500. The next month you pay 14,500, and the next month you pay 11,000 shillings. In US dollars, just remove the last two zeros. So that's about $145, $145 and $110 in USD. If you want to register today, the number is on the screen there, 986850, which is the M-Pesa number. So you can take a screenshot of this very quickly, so that you can be able to reach out to us once you've registered. And finally, for those who are outside the country, I'll have this one also on the screen for a couple of minutes so that you can be able to benefit from it. But you know what? Hey, I've been talking because I'm part of Centonomy. Can we talk to somebody who has experienced it firsthand? I'll invite a Centonomy alumni, a good friend of mine as well, Yvette. How you doing? If you can come on the screen and tell people, did it help you? If it did, how?
Hey, Waithaka.
It's worth your time. How you doing? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I'm really happy to be here. I don't know if you can see me.
I can.
Hey, here we are. This is great. It's really great. I also took a lot of notes listening to Terry, and I'm super happy that you invited me to come and speak today. I will just tell everyone that Waithaka has just prefaced everything. So I'm basically going to be doing a lot of echoing of what he said, because I feel like I've been having flashbacks from the Centonomy class, like just writing my notes again, like, oh yeah, that principle, oh yeah, that one again. So I am greeting everyone from Switzerland. I'm one of the diaspora children, but very happy to be here. So I did Centonomy from the 3rd of September 2020 to the end of 2020, and I can't remember what cohort I was in, season 30 something. And I enjoyed the course so much that my mom just completed last year one of the latest cohorts. So my mom was looking at me going through Centonomy and was like, "Hey, I also want to do this." So and I can really say that, yeah, I mean, the learning that I got from Centonomy, it spilled over. So it's not you learn and then you help other people learn, which I thought was really great, and I could see it also in my family. So I'm not one of the experts. We have people here, Waithaka, Terry, Elizabeth. They're going to talk to you about, about more concrete things. I can just talk about my experience on the course, which I think might resonate with some people as you debate, should I do this? It's a commitment, it's a time commitment. You've seen it's 2.5 hours per week. If you want to follow the course again, it may be a little bit more. And they give you homework. This is not a joke. So there's homework at Centonomy. You have to think, you have to do stuff. And I think I just want to talk about my experience so that folks can see what it actually, like an example of what it actually does for you. So why did I enroll? I remember in about the middle part of 2020, just feeling like I was chasing bills. Bills would come, they would keep coming, and I felt like I was just trying to pour a little bit of water on all these burning little bills that were everywhere. And something that I really hate is when the invoices start to come in and you don't have enough money to pay all of them. So you're like, okay, which one? You start doing this horrible calculation of which bill can wait. And I started to feel a little bit stressed about this. And then I also started to feel stressed about mom, because the thing Waithaka said just now about you want to retire knowing you've sent your children off and they don't have to contribute to maintain you as you retire. That's not something that a lot of us have. I mean, there's so many systemic issues that mean that wealth isn't transferred generationally. It's not our parents' fault. So I'm not in any way blaming my mom or anything, but it's the bigger, broader systemic issues. And I found myself here living where I live in Switzerland with folks who didn't understand what I was going through, like struggling to try to keep my mom afloat back home. So I kept seeing on Facebook Waithaka, because we are friends. So I saw he would post from time to time financial planning, this and that. And I was like, you know what? let me just ask the guy what this thing is. And so I think I reached out to you on the 2nd of September, and the next day was the Centonomy intake. So you told me, like, look, just join the course, just join the course. And I was like, okay, it's the next day. I made the initial payment, and then I was registered and I was on the course. And I found so I'm reading my notes here. I went through all my notes yesterday preparing for this webinar, so that I could pick out the most important things. So just overall, what I found from Centonomy was incredible material. Waithaka has just gone through all of the modules that you learn. And so there's just a wealth of information in there. And you really, I mean, I don't think that anybody can absorb all of it and use all of it at once, but you get what you need. So we all have different needs, and you get so much information about so many specific different areas that you can really take and absorb for your own situation. And the material is delivered by these just the kindest and the most knowledgeable trainers, really competent people who are top in their field and who make themselves available so that they can pass on this knowledge, so that we can start to create a community of wealth generators in Africa, which I am super inspired by. That was one of the things that I was also really, really inspired by. You've got the great material, the amazing trainers. And for me, this aspect of learning, because I'm in the diaspora, learning from Kenyans, with Kenyans, the fact that this is a program that is about wealth, that's developed by East Africans, it's for people in the diaspora, but like, there's a community. It's not like it's an exclusive thing. So if you're here and somehow you're not a Kenyan, please, I'm not trying to say, but for me, it helped me connect with folks back home, with people who understood the particular, my background, maybe what I was struggling with, in a way that here in Switzerland, I mean, I don't know even where to find the financial blah, 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 but it's not going to work for me. And then it was also the type of information that helped me to get towards my goal. And I'll speak a little bit more about this, because one of the instructions I had was to talk about some of my aha moments on this course. One of the main things was understanding that, this program is a coaching program. So it's not you can talk about it as a financial literacy program, and that is true, but I really experienced it as I had a coach. I felt supported. I could start to unravel certain things for myself. It helped me really get clear about hold on, I have all these problems. I feel like I'm drowning, but now I get to understand that I have to swim, but where am I going? What do I want? And how can I get really clear and specific about that? So some of the main takeaways for me, and these are just for me because of my particular needs. The first thing that I remember in the initial class was that your money mindset matters. So the Centonomy class taught me to understand, what was I thinking about wealth? What was I thinking about money? And how were those thoughts impacting my attitudes and then my thoughts and my actions that were perhaps blocking me from going in the direction that I said I really wanted to go. So it's like if I'm swimming and I say, I really don't like water, you're going to have trouble in the long term, like with the conflicting attitude that is somehow subconscious in order to get where you want to go. So they helped us very early on in the program unravel our own thoughts. So you get to really see your money mindset and start to change it. Then, I mean, it's been said over and over, you identify what do you want. You need goals. And Waithaka said this earlier. You have many goals. We have multiple goals. I remember asking you, Waithaka, in one of the sessions, I think I formulated a question like, okay, so now I need to liquidate my debt. I need to start to invest. I also need to support mom. And I was like, which one should I do first? And your answer was, you need to be able to multitask. This is a multi-layered strategy. You need to be able to have all of these things going at the same time. And if I wasn't in Centonomy, I would have just collapsed, be like, I can't do it, it's too many things. But Centonomy really gave me the tools to sort of set up these different streams to going towards the different goals. Like, okay, I want to have enough income coming in so that every month when I have to make that transfer back to mom, I don't have a small heart attack monthly. And when, what do I want? Maybe I want to, one of the things I wrote down when you said that question this morning was, I want to have a farm. And then I just wrote that. And then you asked all the other questions. Okay, which farm? Where is it? When? And I realized that I maybe need to enroll again on the course because I'm not as specific as I want. But yeah, I have all these different things that I wanted to work towards. And the course helped me first identify what they were, and second, start to slowly build towards them. So when I say that I felt like I had a coach, every week with all the homework, I was able to be accountable to myself and see, okay, what did I learn this week? How can I use it? So something I also want to tell anybody who may be interested in joining is that Centonomy will equip you really, really well. And then you have to do things. So you will learn so much, and they will help you to be accountable to yourself. But at the end of the day, it's really important to sort of just sit with yourself quietly and be like, what did I learn? How can I use some of it? There's a lot of material, so you're not going to be able to follow up on the whole thing. But I do believe that there's one or two key things you can take from each class, and then it will help you change your life. So what it helped me to do was, within the first 3 weeks, I had a plan to pay my debt. I had a budget. I could look at places where money was just leaking. I mean, I had money coming in, and then I had a subscription to Netflix, a subscription to Google, and money was just, leaking that I didn't even see. So I could sort of plug some of those leaks, and all of a sudden I had money to save, which I did not know in September. Like in October, I was like, oh, there's money extra. It's not a lot, but there's some money to save. And then I also built up some kind of contingency accounts. Like I had one account, I had my checking account, and money was coming in, and then at the end of the month there'd be zero, and then money would come in from the salary, and then at the end there would be zero. And a principle in one of the first courses was have extra savings accounts. Just then the money comes in, and I'm going to ask everybody to write this down. It's a spoiler, I'm sorry. I give away the biggest takeaway for me that I repeat in my head literally every week: pay yourself first. So the money comes in and you save a little bit. You don't have to save a lot. They help you set up a budget so that you know what you need for your critical expenses. Then whatever is left over, whether it's like 100 bob, save it, because it builds up. And that pay yourself first principle turned my financial life into a much better direction, where 2 years later, so it was September 2020 that I started. At the beginning of 2022, I can say I no more debt. I have these savings accounts that are a little bit, they're healthy, and I have just made my first investment. And for me, my goal was to preserve capital. So I'm very cautious. I'm super scared. It took me 2 years to just also be like, maybe I need to just build up some money first, so that, I'm scared of losing money. I put it somewhere, and then, what if the stock market crashes? But that's my own thing to sort of deal with. And other people don't have to deal with like a tsunami of internal worry, and that's fine. But for me, it was, I will invest in a treasury bond. So I just made my first investment. I feel super happy. Like, I don't know where that money came from. I did not have it. My salary has not changed. Nothing has changed. But I find myself now being like, dude, you're an investor, which is a little bit, I'm super grateful to Centonomy and all the teachers, and I'm excited to do the next one. And all of this is possible because you track your spending, you have a budget, you get clear about your goals, you pay yourself first, and you are responsible, because that's the other piece that Centonomy really emphasized, was responsibility. So you do your research, like Terry was saying. You don't just go because a guy has said, oh, Bitcoin, because it's the next best thing. You sort of have to come back to yourself and be like, what's important to me? What am I trying to do? What do I know about this Bitcoin thing? And I remember one of the trainers saying to us, if you don't understand it, please don't invest in it, because you don't know how the things are working and you're putting your money at risk. So that's not to say don't invest in Bitcoin, but if you want to invest in Bitcoin, please learn how it works. Please learn what it is about. And if you don't know what a treasury bill is and how it works, please don't put your money in a treasury bill. If you don't understand how the real estate market works, maybe go speak to the people at Olympia Gold. Like as Terry was just saying, there are people who know these things that can help you learn some of it, and you become responsible with your money. Having said that, it was like you're responsible, but Centonomy was never like you will now make, there's no, all this investment is the safe one. This is the magic bullet that Waithaka was talking about in the beginning. We were told no investment is safe. Like you can think maybe, treasury, government bills and bonds, the government can default on its loans and then you've lost your money. So understanding that and then planning for it. So just in my own case, I have an investment account where I put money every month and it builds so that I can invest. But once I put money there, it's gone. I don't have it. It's money that I can afford to lose, so that when I move it to some investment, if it all goes bust, I didn't move money that I could not afford to lose. You can see I'm a worst case scenario type of person. I don't think that your investments are going to disappear, but that helps me feel calm. And this is stuff that I learned from Centonomy. So let me just look at my notes to make sure I said all the things I wanted to share with you guys. Yeah, basically, Centonomy allowed me to start to live in two different ways. One, without worry. I started to worry less because I had some kind of plan and I could support myself in managing my finances for the present, which includes taking care of other people and also planning for the future, so that I'm not there with the consistent, what am I going to do for my retirement? And it's been a really slow journey for me, as you can see. It didn't change my life immediately, but that's what Waithaka and Terry were emphasizing. You're building towards something, and you start now. So if it took me 2 years from Centonomy 101 day one to making the investment. So my encouragement is do it now, start the course now, because then you can start building your way to making the first big steps on your journey towards financial freedom or investment, or whatever your goals are. You will get clear on those. It took time, it takes time. And I loved what Terry shared about belief, planning, and discipline. And honestly, I think it's a beautiful formula. And I was there, I was in Centonomy, and Centonomy will support you on all these 3 different pillars, like belief, money mindset, abundance, planning, track your spending, make a budget, set up an emergency fund, and discipline. That's where your coach can set you up, but the discipline part, you're gonna have to bring a big part of that. But you will be in a really, really good place. And I want to just share a quote. I said, I went back to my notes. So I'm looking at my Centonomy notes here. I went back to them and I found that there were just so many little snippets that were shared by teachers that I had just absorbed. One of them I hadn't, and I'm really happy I went back to it. It was shared by Waithaka on day 1 of the class. After you went through, it was the time value of money course, so unit 2. And you sort of showed us how money can work for you in a really interesting way. I mean, I won't spoil this one, but at the end of the day, you had demonstrated so clearly, and you closed the class by saying, my brothers and sisters, the wealth you are looking for is in your pocket. And it was true. The wealth you're looking for is in your pocket. So I leave you with that one, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think I'm also looking forward to hearing what the other panelists have to say, looking forward to listening to Waithaka again and Elizabeth. But I urge anyone who's interested, if you're thinking about it and on the fence, just sign up. It was one of the best investments in myself that I'd ever made. And as soon as I did it, I wanted to send everyone to take the class, because again, I'll come back to this point I made in the beginning. Our continent had a hard time. And this is, I think Centonomy is a really fundamentally justice-oriented enterprise, because it is fixing systemic inequality. It is empowerment in the best sense of the word. It is not just about individuals. It's making things better for entire communities. And so I'm really, really happy to be here to speak about that, to speak about my experience, and also to tell you I believe in this thing. It's making a big difference. And I think with some hindsight, I think you'll be able to look back and see really great things. So there you go. Thanks so much for listening, and I give back the floor to Waithaka.
Yvette, I didn't want you to stop, because I mean it's validating, and it's also just really important for us, because that is our mission, to effect that change that you're talking about in Africa and beyond. Because for so many people, it's not just Africans, it's around the world. We've seen that there are certain people in the world who understand how money works, who understand it, they pass it on to their children, and you find that the wealthy just keep getting more wealthy. And it's not because they're doing anything wrong. Maybe some of them are, but majority of them are not doing, they just understand the principles. And if we can get those principles across, then you begin to be like Yvette, who in 2 years is now out of debt and is now an investor. I mean, that's, so please note, it is 2 years. It was not just something that happened like that. In 2 years, she cleared her debt, has started investing, is taking care of members of her family. I mean, that's what we are supposed to do. And if we can grow our wealth, we will achieve it together. Yvette, thank you so much. I saw a question online. There was someone there who was asking, are the classes online? Yes, they are. Let me put those details up on the screen one more time, just so that you can understand where we are. We meet, sorry, not the couples one. So it is 12 weeks. All the classes are online. We do have one physical class, which I'll be telling you about later, but it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're able to attend this course, as Yvette is in Switzerland at the moment and took her classes all the way from Switzerland for the 12 weeks. So you log into class once a week for 12 weeks. Let me get that up there. You make the registration today, and we'll send you all the details. So the classes are online, and you're able to achieve them. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening East African time at 6 p.m. East African time, 6 p.m. and Saturday morning at 9 a.m. East African time. And you can pay the fees in installments, because we recognize it's not like you just have money lying around ready for this. And many times when you're in financial distress, maybe you'd have even less money. But this investment will save you money over time. Make that investment. Get out your screenshot, get it ready so you can take down the details for payment. So if you're in Kenya, you can use the M-Pesa platform or the banking platform that is on the right there, so that you're able to take part in this. Just take a quick screenshot so that you have the details to make the registration today and take advantage of that discount on registration. Yvette, I'm so grateful. I didn't see any other questions, but if you can go through the Q&A section and see if there's any you can help out with, I'd appreciate that. But moving right along, I am so excited at this moment to invite, just hold on one place, to invite our next speaker, because I'm so interested in this area of asset management. We talk about it's not just real estate, we want a breadth of knowledge. And so we've got Elizabeth Irungu, who is the General Manager of Business Development in ICEA, Lion Asset Management Limited. So she covers quite a few of the investment options that are out there in the world. And she's coming on board to tell us, how do we align our goals to the There's so many investments that are offered in that place. Elizabeth, we are humbled that you have given us your time today. I hope everyone is ready, because I've been taking notes. I'm not joking. When I come into these sessions, it's not just to talk about Centonomy, it's about Waithaka as well and his future. Elizabeth, awesome. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Waithaka, and good morning, everybody. This is so nice. It's been really, really nice spending your Saturday morning just sharpening the saw. It's really, really nice, and this is what is needed. And so I'm so excited to be part of this panel. And today, I'll not be talking about specific assets. I'll talk about why set the goals. Why are you going to set the goals? So you'll allow me to share my screen. If you don't mind, I will share my screen because I have a few slides. I love it that way. It's just how I deliver. So good. There you are. You can see it?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. That's nice. All right, goal-based investing. This is a big, big one, even international.
Elizabeth, so I don't disturb you later. There we go. Now we're on the presenter view. Great.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes. Okay, awesome. So this is a really big one, and it is a way that it is a known method of investing strategy that you can use so that you can achieve your goals, because dreams are valid. And so we say goal-based investing, just to start off, it just means that you've got something you're targeting. You must have a dream, and we have many dreams in our lives, but how do you achieve all these dreams in the investment circle? How do you make sure that you achieve all of them? Focus on that which really matters to you, because if you go to a manager and you just say, I just want to invest with no focused goal, then you might end up investing in the wrong way and choosing the wrong investment because we did not target a particular goal that you had in mind. So you must have heard from very early days. For me, the first thing that I ever heard from my father was, you need to save for a rainy day. And I kept wondering, rainy days, what are they? That time I was really young and I wasn't understanding what rainy days are. But now I know better now that I'm an adult and I've been in this business of investing. So you've heard about retirement, but a lot of times we think retirement is for those who are working or in informal sectors. But I can tell you, retirement is for each one of us, because when you're old and you no longer can expend a lot of energy, you need to have some monies that you had saved or you had invested so that you can live on them. But to my next thing, what are these most common investment goals that we have? Obviously, they stem from your dreams, but the ones that are overarching, most of them have to do with life events. And life events can be things to do with your children going to university. If we did a poll here today and asked you, what university would you like your child to go to? And I'm sure there's some who will mention here Ivy League schools. And an Ivy League school, in my last check, I saw Harvard University's fees is about almost $90,000 per year. That's not little money. And that is today's shilling, dollar, 90,000. That's today's money. If your child is 2 years, for example, you've got to look out another 16 years or 17 years before they join university, the fees will have increased. How do you make sure that by then you're going to be able to pay $120,000, $130,000 per year for that child and they finish? Or shall you send them and tell them to work? So our dreams are there. Many times we dream big, but we don't plan around that dream. And we'll be talking about it even more. The other things we have is, vacations. We have dream vacations. All of us here, I'm sure we have dream destinations that we'd love to go to. You know how we say Hawaii, you want to go to Malaysia, you want to go all these places. But how about planning around them and saying, maybe I want on the 5th anniversary of my whatever it is, maybe go to a certain vacation. That vacation destination, it's possible to plan around it and actually put money aside and be able to achieve it so that it doesn't look unachievable because of the costs that comes as a front load. Then the retirement, of course. Home ownership is really big, and I loved what Terry talked about. Home ownership or even home investment, all those are dreams and you can be able to achieve them if you plan and you buy the right investment for them. Of course, don't ever forget to have an emergency fund. And rule of the thumb, have 6 times of your monthly expenses saved somewhere where it is safe, accessible, and things like that. Then home upgrades. If you're a woman like I am, we always want our homes to look different after a certain number of years. We don't want to have the same look, same feel year in, year out. So home upgrades are also things to plan around. There are goals, and there are many, many many more, including upgrading your phone. You just don't wake up and you are impassive. When you're a savvy investor, you know that planning is everything. And that is what gets you to the next level without jeopardizing any other needs that you have around you. And some of the things that I mentioned here on this slide have to do with how we do it. So for each investment goal, the minimum investment period should be about 5 years. I know many times I meet investors who tell me, I want to invest for 3 months only. I don't think that is quite true. Maybe they are on transit to another investment, because most investment goals, we would advise as professionals, plan around 5 years so that you do justice to your money. So if you have a lump sum, for example, don't go to a manager and tell a fund manager, I want you to invest for 3 months. What you've done to that manager is just shackle them into some shackles that will mean they will only look for the lowest return for you. And therefore, you may never achieve your ultimate goal, which is something like maybe you want to buy your dream home. But now I'm investing for you in 3 months. And therefore, I'm not looking at your end goal. I'm looking at your 3 months end goal, which is not a goal per se. It is a very fake way of thinking that you have a goal when you come to a manager and you think about 3 months, 6 months. But rather, think broader, think wider and longer so that you can be able to invest better. Revisit your goals with your financial advisor at regular intervals. And I say that because at one point when I was a little younger, one of my goals was to own a home. And of course, based on the income that I had, my goal was just own a comfortable home for my family. But over time, I got my children, and the next thing is, oh, we are not fitting in this 2-bedroom now. So you can see why you need to revisit. Maybe I need to sell that home now and jump to the next one, which is going to be more comfortable for us. Or even when new members of families arrive, children being part of it. So for me, it was children, and I had to think about how do I move out of this house to a house that was going to be more comfortable for us, and plan around it and see that we achieve that goal as a family. So how do you profile your goals? You can profile them in 3 ways. One is, there are those which are short-term, and forgive me when I say short-term is less than 5 years. When you're a savvy investor, I want to dissuade you from thinking really, really in months, because that's like savings. That's money you can put in your bank account because it's on transit. You and I know Christmas was just the other day. Already January is gone. Already February, we are on February 5th. I mean, just think about it, even for the investment manager. When you talk about months, it really, really does a lot of harm to your investment. But I'm not saying it can be done. If your goal was longer than that, then plan around it longer than 5 years. At least, less than 5 years for short term, rather than talking about few months. Then medium term. For medium term goals, you talk about 5 to 10 years. These are things to do with maybe your child will be going to high school in the next 10 years, and that goal needs to be, you need to start pursuing it now, not when they are about to join class 8. I don't know whether you remember the days where students would be going to university and Harambe has to be called. And I keep telling people, that's not an emergency. Surely you prayed to God for your child to succeed in school. You even took them to school. You even paid school fees and you push them to work hard. And then when they make it to university, come for Harambe people. And I kept thinking, poor planning, poor way of organizing your money so that you can take care of your child, especially for those who have income. I do understand for families that are struggling, but I hate to think that there are families that you could quite tell they could have saved something towards the child's fees, but they didn't do much about it. It's almost like waiting for a time bomb to just blow on their face. So we can't be part of that. We are a generation that has now the knowledge. We must do things differently. And I'm glad to say, at least recently, I have not seen many of those kind of harambes which are talking about, can we take a child to the university? And obviously we knew that the child was going to go to university at one time, and maybe we didn't even have a calamity hit the family or something like that. Then long term, Those are goals that are more than 10 years. That dream home, you may have a dream home even now, you may be thinking about your dream home now, but how about you, first of all, get to know what would be that value of that dream home? You know, those people who are saying, I want to live in the leafy suburbs. If you're going to live in the leafy suburbs, numbers are there, and Terry can tell you, if you're going to live in some of those ambassadorial homes, have in your pocket at least 50 million to 100 million or even more for you to live in them. So what do you do about it today so that you get yourself to that home that you dream about, that your family will be there? And you can do it. I say you can do it. It may sound daunting today. It may look really, really big, but it can be done. And I'm going to demonstrate to you how that can be done. So when you're setting these goals, short-term, medium-term, long-term, set them as SMART goals. So SMART goals, in short, it's what all of us most likely have come across this word. It is specific. And when you talk about specific, you want to give it a value. You want to be specific, even adjusting it for inflation. So if it is a dream holiday, on my right, you can see this. If it is a dream holiday, you want to go to a cruise ship, maybe you and your spouse, you may need $1 million. Maybe that's today's cost. You need to ask yourself, if it is in 5 years out, how much will it be? Maybe it will be more than 1 million, it will be 1.2 million. So you don't save 1 million, you save 1.2. Measurable, those are the measures that I'm talking about. So go there, look for the exact or at least probable amount that you're likely to expend or to need to achieve that goal at that specific time that you have also set. Should be achievable, it should be realistic, and it should be time-bound. Don't work with open-ended goals. That is a way of fooling yourself. It's a way of saying, I want one day to be on a cruise ship, but I have no time set for it. I'm just talking. That is hot air. But many times we do that, we fall into that. Make sure that you set time-bound goals, and so that you can remain accountable to yourself. You can also track the progress of how you're going towards the goal that you're about to achieve. So if it is buying that property, if it is moving from one house to the next one, you can be able to track how well are you doing towards achieving that particular goal. So like this case we're talking about, you want to save 1 million shillings for a holiday or a vacation. It will cost you 1 million shillings 5 years out. And you have 100,000 in your bank today. How much should you save to hit that target of 1 million that year? Because you don't want to disappoint even those we love, because some of these goals, they actually have social aspects, like these holidays. Maybe you're a man, you have promised your wife this holiday, and then the day comes and you're like, oh, we don't have enough money, but all along you've been talking about it. And there you cause a conflict which could have been averted by just planning yourself properly. And there are many more. And I'll just show you here in terms of calculations. And I'll also give you a hint of where you can get these kind of calculations. Sorry, it is showing you in dollars, but here we are. So this is a calculation showing you want to target 1 million shillings. You already have 100,000 in your savings account or your investment account. You want to achieve that in 5 years. And the rate of return that you can get for 5 years, I assumed 8%, and that you're going to be compounding monthly, meaning you'll be putting money every month so that you achieve your 1 million goal. So when you punch these numbers in your calculator, what it tells me is that on a monthly basis, you need to save 11,000 shillings. For those who are reading dollars, please put Kenya shilling there so that you don't say that's so much money per month. Yeah, it's because I was using a calculator which is in dollars, but it will go to the same thing even if we remove the dollar sign. So 11,000 shillings, 11,500 shillings is what you need to save per month. So 1 million looks really, really big, but when you break it down to a set amount, to a monthly level, it becomes palatable. It becomes something achievable, and you can be able to track. So investment manager can be able to share with you on a monthly basis, how much have you been able to achieve? Where are you at on this goal? And that helps you to know, maybe if I skipped a month to contribute, I can be able to contribute the next month, maybe in a higher amount. If I get a lump sum, I can push it towards this goal. And that way I go ahead and achieve my goal at the end of the day. Now, what considerations did we talk about when setting these goals? One, the cost of your goal, because every goal must have a cost. When is your goal falling due? When is it likely that you're going to need this to achieve this goal? How much do you have saved now? Because I am assuming you guys have been coming to Centonomy or are going to join the Centonomy class. So you need to evaluate, what do you have now? What is it that you have in your hands to start? And if you don't have, it is all right. You can say, I am at ground zero. It is okay. Like we were told by Waithaka, it is okay to start wherever you are. Obviously, we say investing should have started 10 years ago, but if you didn't start, you didn't start. Just start and don't push yourself. Just do it, just start it. And then ask yourself, how much can you save today so that you achieve that goal that is ahead of you? And I'm cognizant of our time, so I'll try to move a little faster. So why is risk profiling, why doesn't it work? Because traditional way of investing has been, I profile you, you come over, I ask you several questions. What would you do if you were to lose 1 million shillings? How would you react if you found that your investment went from 1 million shillings to 900 shillings? You answer, I don't want, like we've had Terry is very risk averse. But if you start with the risk, and maybe this one is a very profound way of looking at it. If you only focus on the risk, then you will have to put your dream aside, because your dreams will only be achieved through investments that fit the profile of your dream. So if, for example, it's retirement, you cannot talk about retirement and at the same time tell me I don't want to take risk, because by all means, and as a standard, the higher the risk, the higher the return. And some of the goals that you have, they need high risk sort of investments so that you achieve the high return that you need to be able to achieve that goal. And two, when you have more time to achieve a goal, you have the ability to actually ride out risk. I don't know whether you heard me. When you have a higher or a longer investment period, it is possible for you to buy more risky assets like shares. Remember what Waithaka shared. He said in 2015, they got, as a family, they got a return of 50% from equities, but the following year, they got a -4. But he didn't tell you about the following year and the following year and now 2021. But he said, over a long time, he was able to see that they're getting, sorry about that, they were getting double-digit returns. But had he looked only in the bad year, he would have said, I don't want to take risk. I want just comfortable and very stable returns. So you go for the 8-10%. But there you are with a 50% in 1 year. Imagine that. So when you have a longer investment period, you can take more risk. And a longer investment period would mean probably your goal is maybe retirement. Probably your goal is to maybe take a child to university the next 17 years. You could easily invest in properties and you turn in the properties and they give you the capital gain that you need by that time, because you have a long period of investment. And like saying, I'll buy a plot this year and next year I want to, for example, do what? Maybe buy golf clubs or something like that. You can't buy a property and try to turn it so quickly. It is illiquid. Some assets are very liquid, they can't match that. So every asset you get can be able to match a goal depending on whether it's a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, a long-term goal, And that way you'll be able to achieve them. So while risk profiling is good, be sure that you do not give up your dreams because you ended up profiling yourself as probably low risk and or high risk, and therefore jeopardize the investments that you actually can take. So when you focus on your ability to take risk and not what assets can do for you, then you cannot be helped to achieve this goal. There'll be a mix-up. There'll be a mix-up. So you need to focus a lot more on your goal, and then you can deal with the risk element. What are the secrets to successful investing? As we have been talking here, it's the discipline. First, the discipline. Avoid getting your hands into the cookie jar. If you maintain that discipline, and I think we've heard about it, even with the with Terry was talking about her journey. The discipline is everything. Maintain the discipline of investing, and you'll find that you will be able to achieve more with little or even with a lot. If you have a lot, you can achieve even more. That's why I think in my local language, they say money is liquid with money. Waithaka, that's what they say. Money is liquid with money, which is quite interesting. Do not overfocus on daily performance. Sometimes we are so stuck up with looking at our investment on a daily basis that we lose the real value. You know, like you check Safaricom share, I invested last week, I bought it at 40. Now it has gone to 36, and you're like, oh my God, I'm losing, and you panic. Do not fall for that. Don't focus on daily performance or those very short term, because what they do, they just give you, like answers for nothing, because investment tends to just do that. As long as the strategy is right, the company is still viable, you don't need to worry about market ups and downs. Ultimately, the line will still turn positive. But don't, of course, ignore reviewing whether these companies are still relevant and are still going to be profitable and are still going to be there in the long term. So it's something that you need to learn. And that's why you need a manager. Like, I'll use Waithaka as an example. Every successful athlete has a manager. So please don't walk alone. Be ready to spend some time with your professional financial advisor who will help you to actually understand and unravel maybe even some of the fears that you have. Diversify. Guys, this is something that Kenyans need to hear every day. Diversification. We buy plots left, right, center. And then we forget that our goals and our needs, some of them need cash, not properties. Please diversify your portfolio. Do everything you can to look at your portfolio holistically. I get surprised when I get an investor who tells me, these are all the titles. And I'm like, oh my God. So what do we do? Well, they are good. Some of them look really good, but they could be telling me, I have no cash. So we have to dispose at distress, which is very, very hard and very painful to see a property which could have been sold at a good price being sold at a throwaway because there is a huge cash need. Well, we could have maybe done that in a very fashionable way and avoided that pitfall. But overall, be looking at your portfolio holistically. Look at how many plots have you invested? Do you have shares? Do you have an emergency fund which is liquid enough? Do you have maybe investments in Bitcoins, which are very speculative and can go inside that? And you need to know that. What else do you have? What other investments? Maybe commodities. Even your own business, you need to throw it there because your business is actually an investment tool that money that you're putting capital there. And therefore, you can't just ignore it. Then be worried about inflation. Inflation is a killer. You never see it, but if you look back, like I think again, I'll use Waithaka's example. 1982, a nice Colt would have bought it at 80,000 showroom. Then you go home and then you fuel, I think with 20 bob, full tank. Now if you don't pay attention to inflation, the same 80,000 will soon be buying socks. And that would be a very big disappointment, because if you save for example, for your retirement without considering inflation, you consider today's prices only, you may end up with 10 million, but your 10 million will not buy the goods that will be available then. So you will still live below the poverty line or below the standards that you'd have loved to keep. So if you want to maintain your standards of living, inflation risk has to be taken. Your investments have to be earning you above inflation, and track the inflation. It's printed every month by our government. I know we have different views about it. It is all right, guys, but we have a number to reference. Reference that number, target to be earning above it, but don't go overboard by chasing very high returns and forgetting about risk. I know that is covered by Centonomy very well, so I'll not overdwell there. Then strive. Yes.
You're struggling with time, so I'll ask
yes,
you to bring it to a close. So as we
yes,
thank you.
Strive to be financially savvy. And that's what Centonomy does. So join in. And then finally, what can I say as a parting shot? Nothing so undermines your financial judgment as a sight of your neighbor getting rich. Sometimes we keep looking on the neighbor's fence. What are they doing? Please focus on your goals. Please don't change your financial goals or financial strategy because your neighbor looks like they are succeeding a lot. And that way, you will maintain your discipline. Thank you very much. Over to you, Waithaka.
I'm so sorry. I didn't want to stop you talking. I didn't. I honestly, you should see the responses that are going on. People asking, send me the PowerPoint. The wealth of knowledge, Elizabeth, is outstanding. And if you can just take a couple of things out of this, please, I hope you're taking notes. And this is, you can imagine, you're getting this from Elizabeth. She's talked for 20 minutes. If you come into the Centonomy class, you'll be leaving with knowledge that is going to break through for the rest of your life. And as Yvette and Elizabeth and Terry have been talking about it, it is not something that is just going to come and you use everything at the same time. No, you'll use some of that information now for the situation that you're in. As you get into new situations, I love the example, Elizabeth, you mentioned. Now, when you have children, now suddenly you have a new goal, which is education. When you realize that you've gotten to a certain place in life, now you think, I need a bigger house. So goals change and the information will assist us to break that down. Elizabeth, we are forever grateful for the work that you have done and you continue to do. Kindly go through and you should see the responses. Look at the chat box. People are happy. They are clapping. They are saying, awesome, insightful. I mean, you have touched people. Guys, if you have questions for Elizabeth, please do. Type them in the Q&A section. If you're on social media, please do type them into the chat box. I want to invite, before our final speaker for today, and I'm aiming to be done in the next couple of minutes. The next 11 minutes or so, we should be done. I'll invite one of my colleagues, Sharon. If you're in the room, kindly, if you can just join us on the screen, it would be great so that we can just quickly hear from you before we hear from the last Centonomy alumni. You want to hear what the experience was like being in the class? That's what you're here for. Sharon, go ahead.
Hello, hi, Mr. Waithaka and everyone who's joining us today. Allow me to share my screen with a slide that has the Making Sense book. Minute. Yeah, so Mr. Waithaka kindly put up the slide that has the Making Sense book slide. So my name is Sharon, as you have been told, and I work here at Centonomy under the Making Sense book. So I hope that you've heard about the Making Sense book. It's the book that has been authored by our very own Washeke Ndwati. She's the founder of Centonomy. And I have read the Making Sense book. Definitely, I also consider myself being the brand ambassador of the book because I have found the book to be very informative and the book to be very life-changing. And it has changed my life, and I know it shall change your life too. And if there's something that I love about the Making Sense book, it's been written in a storytelling format where you get to learn about Washeke's story and how she was able to navigate her finances. She talks about there was a period in her life where she was broke and she had to ask herself, where has my money been going to? How have I been using my money? And when she looked and done her soul searching, she realized that she used to spend 300 bob when it came to her lunch money. 300 shillings in a month, that is 9,000 shillings. In a year, that is 108,000 shillings just for lunch. You've not counted supper, you've not counted your breakfast, just on lunch money. What can 108,000 bob do for you? Isn't that school fees money? Isn't that a holiday? You've been saying how you'd want to travel and go to Zanzibar or wherever destination that you'd want to go to, but there are things that have been holding you back. So Making Sense book is a tool book for you. It has those gems that will empower you on how to better handle your finances and see the opportunity. I love what they said about the opportunity to create wealth is in your pocket. And by using Making Sense book, it's a tool book that will show you where you can go around your finances and actually be able to create the kind of wealth that you desire. Another thing that I love about Making Sense book, it's also Washeke talks about the story of Dishon, the story of Faith, and the story of Douglas. Most of the personal finance books that we read, they're overseas books. So you're talking about things that like IRA. These are conversations that do not apply to you as an individual, as an African, as a Kenyan. So the story that has been written at the Making Sense book is Kenyan stories that you can be able to identify with. So if at all you're looking to up your personal finance journey, then Making Sense is the book that is for you. So I believe that everyone should be able to get their copy. And even as highlighted on the screen, the book retails at only 1,000 bob when you purchase it here at Centonomy. And there is my number where you can reach out to me and and purchase a copy. You can also get the book at Textbook Center. You can get the book at Bookstopia Center, Prestige, Half Price Bookshop. So it's well distributed. And we're also at Aristoc Booklex, Uganda. So for our Uganda people, yeah, you haven't been left behind. So definitely I'd urge each and every one of you to purchase a copy. And also allow me to talk about normalizing personal finance. There's a story from Faith where she is a married woman and she's navigating money and relationships. At times, there are definitely people here who are married, who are living with their significant other, but you're not having the conversation about finances. Probably your partner doesn't know the amount of debt that you're in. Probably your partner doesn't know if when it comes to budgeting, and there's a session that we had with Waithaka for money and relationship, where their spouses at times who don't know that your partner has a secret account somewhere, but it is important that we normalize having this conversation, even as we meet up with our friends for over dinner, for brunch, that we're having the investment conversation that we need to normalize. And such conversation, you'll get them at the Making Sense book. So kindly grab your copy, yes, and let's keep the conversation going.
Amazing,
thank you,
amazing,
Mr.
Sharon. Thank you, guys. That's a great place to start, even as you can read that book between now and when the class starts, and you'll be a little bit ahead once the class begins. So I want to encourage you right now, if you can, kindly do think about getting that book. Our last speaker, who's going to take the next 5 minutes just so that we can finish up, is another Centonomy alumni, Mr. Joe Clonzo. I think you're around somewhere. I want to make sure I can see you.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
There you go.
Yes.
I have not made you a co-host. You need to be a co-host here so that we can see your face as well. People need to know who is talking.
My good. I had has the Maureen so that I don't show my face.
Okay, no worries.
I'm
Then
still
you
on the
can
road.
speak. No problem.
So
Go
I
ahead.
decided to stop and make the presentation, but I've been following.
No worries.
Yeah, so thank you
Your
very
5
much.
minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Waithaka. My name is Joe Kilonzo. I am an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I also teach at Strathmore Law School. So for a couple of years, I had conversations with my friends concerning joining Centonomy because we wanted to manage our finances better. But then it was not until last year in September when I decided to join Centonomy together with my soon-to-be wife, so my partner. And the journey has been amazing. And if I may start with why I thought of joining Centonomy, it's because I had gotten to a point where I wanted to make informed financial decisions, particularly regarding investments. I had developed an interest in dairy farming as well as a water vending business, but I didn't know how to best proceed, and had gotten to a point, as Yvette had mentioned, that you have different financial obligations where you assume different financial obligations at home and elsewhere. So I wanted to ensure that there is a balance between the money that went into investment and the money that went into meeting those other financial obligations. So as Elizabeth has mentioned, because I had the benefit of also listening to her presentation, I wanted to set goals, and goals that were informed by knowledge. So that's part of the reason why I joined Centonomy. And secondly, I also wanted to be on the same page with my partner. Like I've mentioned, we joined together in September. So we wanted to be on the same page as far as finances are concerned, and also as far as our relationship with money was concerned. So as Yvette has alluded, we have different relationships with money. Is something that you're going to cover during your classes. So based on that, we wanted to see, can we have a shared understanding, a shared relationship on money, how money works, how to maintain a healthy relationship with money, tapping knowledge on the available investments, etc. So currently we are in that place where we are having conversations about what do we need to do with our money, so trying to speak the same financial language, evaluating our relationship with money, etc. So I think as far as that is concerned, I think Centonomy has been quite beneficial in terms of the knowledge and also interactions with different experts in different fields. So what then was my aha moment? So when I joined Centonomy, as I pointed out, I wanted to get knowledge on how to manage my finances better, and particularly when it comes to investments. But then I realized that I was getting more than I had anticipated. I was learning how to save my money. I was learning how to keep my money safe and other avenues of investments in terms of growing my money that I had not thought about. And then I came to realize, or upon reflection, I understood that whatever knowledge that I was getting, the more knowledge that I did not anticipate was based on the fact that Centonomy used to invite, or Centonomy invites facilitators, a broad range of facilitators with different types of expertise, ranging from lawyers, tax experts, insurance experts, real estate experts, etc. So for me, Centonomy was a great opportunity, and now I'm very much informed on what I need to do. I'm trying to put in practice some of the things that I have been learning from Centonomy together with my soon-to-be wife. So at the moment, we are trying to operationalize our water vending business, and we're also trying to ensure that we operationalize the dairy farm. So we've done the structures and everything, and we're also trying to improve our saving culture. So I can say that I have been a great beneficiary of Centonomy and the knowledge that I have gained from Centonomy. And then who do I think should join Centonomy? I think, broadly speaking, since I may not exhaust all the categories of persons who should join Centonomy, in my estimation, any person who wishes to attain financial freedom, any person who wishes to be prudent when it comes to finances, they should join Centonomy. This would include students at the university level, because I think the earlier you start, the better. Should also include people in their early careers like myself, mid-career people, etc. And even people about to get into retirement, because you need also to start preparing for retirement, especially if you've not done so earlier. So I think generally that has been my experience, and I can highly recommend Centonomy to anyone who wants to have financial knowledge on different areas and to become prudent in different financial areas. So again, I'm very grateful, Waithaka, for this opportunity that's given me to share my experience.
Wow.
So I wish to yield back the floor to you, Mr. Waithaka.
Joe, where are you on the road to? Where are you headed?
I'm heading to Meru.
I know there's business in Meru. I wish you all the best. Travel safe. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. Listen, guys, this is the time to make that decision for yourself, for your family, and for the future that you want. It is vital that each one of us takes responsibility for ourselves and for the future that we want. Hey, if you're aged 17 to 24, we have a program for you as well, because we are determined to help as many people as possible to achieve this financial freedom that we're talking about at whatever stage that you're in. This is the time to make that decision. It's called Centonomy Campus Edition. And if you want, take a quick screenshot of that so that you have the details there for yourself. If you have a family member, remember this entire webinar will be available on our social media, on YouTube, on Facebook as well. So you can come back in case there's anything that you missed and look at it. But what I'm trying to get you to do is make a decision today. Is there something that you want to achieve with your family? It starts off by making a plan. And you make a plan when you fully understand where you want to go. Wealth creation is like climbing a mountain. Remember that you choose, first of all, which mountain do you want to climb? How fast do you want to go? And all these factors are a factor of your skill set. Does it mean that you cannot be able to climb? No, you can. It may just take a bit of time to prepare and then to be able to go. But listen, the great things and those who have achieved great things in their lives invested in them. They took the time, they got better. They got coaching to help them to get better at what they're doing. And then they got into that space. You've heard people who've come in now that have put together financial plans for their family, who've gotten out of debt, who are investing for the future. Do you know what you need to do? Even if you have an idea, come into the Centonomy 101 program and let us help you to put together a concrete plan towards that goal. But it's not going to be easy. But guess what? It is simple. None of the people who come into this room have PhDs in personal finance. No. This is for every person who is out there, that you can come and learn the simple ideas that will get you to your goal. Guys, it has been a total pleasure. I just want to thank our wonderful speakers from today. Elizabeth Irungu, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Terry Odeny, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Yvette and Joe, from your experience coming into the class. We want you guys to take advantage of this right now. If you're coupled, remember we have the couples discount that is available. Take a quick screenshot of that. We've got the classes and the details of them there on the screen. This is the time to take advantage. All the classes are available online. And for those in the Nairobi area, now we're getting back into a bit of a hybrid. So we'll be having Saturday physical classes depending on demand. And so let us know even as you register. Once you do register, we will reach out to you with all the details around the class so that you can benefit. If you have benefited in these 2 hours, you can imagine what you do in 12 weeks being in a class and the materials that we'll share with you. We share with you materials every single day. What Yvette was talking about, we'll send you a budget template, a tracking template, a financial planning template, an emergency fund template. We'll talk about a debt repayment plan template. All of these based on your goals. So today, begin to align your investments to your financial goals. That is our aim here at Centonomy. We want to thank you so much. Everybody who's in the room, use the chat box. Let us know where you are. I know we've got representation all around the world. I saw people from Zimbabwe, some people in Saudi Arabia. Just type in the chat box where we are. It's always lovely to recognize people from wherever you are that you've taken the time to be here. The fees are on the screen. Somebody here, Joseph Kuria was asking. They're up on the screen right now, so you can look at them. Yeah, please do, please do. This is where it starts. But just like, you know, it's like hearing about the gym. The gym is where you can go and learn about how to live a healthy life. Hey, but you have to go to the gym in order for you to learn. So please take advantage of that right now. Wow. Hey, Brenda in Nairobi here, not too far from us. I saw a few other people from around the world. I saw someone in Zimbabwe online on YouTube. Excellent. Thank you so much. That's Martha in Mwanza in Tanzania. I told you, this is an African thing. We must raise Africans and others around this world. Come on, guys. This is what it's about. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you all. This is the time to register for the class. Once you register, we'll have your details and be able to reach out to you and help you with the details as the class starts on the week of the 15th. The week of the 15th of this month. I have that on the screen now. 15 February is the first session. So please, please, please take advantage of that even as we go forward. God bless you all. Have a great weekend and let's build wealth together. Bye.